Hi, this is Maya, and today I'm going to teach you to draw an anime girl full view. So I'm using a Prismacolor ebony pencil and just a regular sheet of paper, and you want to start off with a circle. This is going to be just your basic lines for blocking out the face. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add a few lines to the side to block out the chin and the cheeks. This is always, for me, the most difficult part of drawing any face, is just getting those lines just the way you want them. So feel free to take a little time on them. I certainly will, with lots of erasing. So just don't feel bad. Just take it slow and work your way up the face. And once you have it the way you want it, you can go ahead and add in a neck. I'm sorry about my head in the way. I tend to get pretty close to my drawing when I am sketching, and that's, just the way it happens. So once you've got the neck the way you want it, you can go ahead and add in a couple of lines to place the eyes and the nose and the mouth. We just do one horizontal line and one vertical line. And we're going to add some ears on the side. The ears should be pretty level with the eyes, you will find. So that's a good thing to note when you start to place the eyes, is that the top of the eye should be pretty level with the top of the ear. Once we've got that in, we can go ahead and start blocking in the eyes. The top of the eyelashes. And the eyelids, and finally the eyebrows. Finally, we can do a nose, and because this is a full view, we don't really have to work too much on the just the overall placement of the nose. We can just kind of do a little dot, a little line, however you want to do it, and that signifies the nose. Thankfully, we can do that in anime. You can see the mouth is kind of centered in right where the two cheeks meet. That's where I put the mouth. What we're drawing in here is the iris, and you can notice that the bottom of the iris actually turns up just a little bit, just to signify her smiling, and the bottom eyelashes also turn up. Putting in the collarbone here. And finally, we can start blocking in the hair. I always try to do the hair last, so that it won't be so difficult to try to draw the eyes underneath the hair. That's always a really difficult process, so being able to just kind of overlap the hair over the eyebrows and eyes, it's a much easier way to go. You can probably tell how much wider the hair is than her actual head. Those lines at the top, those little light ones, are actually the end of her head, but her hair goes so much bigger than her head, and that's just a common way to do it when drawing an anime style. giving just a couple of places where the hair kind of sticks out just to make her look a little bit more friendly and not so well kept. And what we're going to do is add a couple of strands of hair that lay down on her shoulders, just to make it look more natural. And some more lines to signify other locks of hair. This will be really important when we start to color, is knowing where the lines are. Similarly, we're going to put some more lines up here at the top of her head. And we have our bases for the anime girl pretty much blocked out. What we're going to do now is we're going to start to ink in the lines. I'm using a Prismacolor pen, and the size is 0.5. And what I always like to start with is the hair. Just like we draw the hair last, try to always ink in the hair, especially the bangs, first, because it does overlap the other facial features. It'll be really important that you do this first for the areas like the eyebrows, which sometimes you can see in different anime styles that they actually overlap the hair, but for now we're just going to draw them underneath the hair. And fill in the ears. And the jawline is always the hardest part to ink. What you have to do is just keep your hand really loose and just not worry about it. Just go with the flow. Let your instincts take over on that jaw, because if you work too hard at it, you'll just find that your focus actually doesn't help with the smoothness of the lines at all. It just kind of makes it worse. So don't be afraid to just kind of let your hand do its thing on that jawline. Next we're going to fill in the eyelashes and the eyes. And what you can see I did here is I just left a little notch on the side, kind of for the shine. Once I move my hand, you'll be able to tell distinctly where I did that. Most of the time, I'll do shines in the upper corners of the eye, but for this one I'm just doing a little one on the side. And you can actually see how the pupils and irises don't actually touch the eyelashes. And if you do it this way, you give your character a lot more of an open-eyed, surprised, or happy look. If you touch the eye to the eyelashes, you get a much more mellow, kind of calm, or even sad look. So remember that when you're drawing eyes. If you want the character to have a certain expression, pay attention to the ways that you portray the eyes. Here we're just adding the pupil, which I'm actually not filling in all the way, I'm leaving kind of open. And the nose. And finally the mouth. The eyelids. And lastly, the eyebrows. And you can see that I'm not filling in any of the places where it actually goes underneath the hair. Although I think you can do that if you want to. You can go ahead and fill it all in if you want. That's a very popular style, but for this one I'm just leaving it unfilled. Putting in a few details in the ears here. The collarbone, which is really gentle on the girls. On the guys you can do a more distinct collarbone, but to leave kind of a feminine impression you want to just do a few lines for the collarbone. And here I'm filling in these lines up here for the hair. Again, these are going to be really important when we color. And the shoulders. The shoulders are another thing you want to do kind of at the end because you want to be able to overlap that hair. And the lines are mostly complete. You now have your basic template for the girl that we can actually start improving. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to erase all of our pencil lines. Depending on what kind of pen you're using, make sure you give your lines a few moments to dry. You don't want to end up smearing your lines. Also make sure you have a good eraser. The white eraser I was using earlier has some smudges and tends to kind of leave streaks when I erase. So a good kneaded eraser is really good. Just coming in with my pen here and adding a little couple of things, such as some lines above the eye or below the eyebrows, just to kind of give her that raised eye look. And we are pretty much done with the inking and ready for coloring. A few things I'm going to do here is go in and put in a couple of lines in the eyes. If you do this, it gives it much more depth, as you can already tell. If you leave everything kind of the same boldness, you get a very flat sort of looking picture. But if you go in and put a couple of darker areas in the eyes, most commonly the jawline or neck, it really gives the whole picture a whole new meaning and depth. Lastly, on the inking, I'm going to add a few eyelashes, just to give her a more feminine look. And we are done with the inking.